Our guest speaker tonight is Tim Heffernan. Tim is a peer worker and poet coordinating the mental health peer workforce at Coordinair for Southern Eastern New South Wales and is the Deputy Commissioner with the New South Wales Mental Health Commission. Enjoying a 20-year teaching career before moving to disability support work and peer work. Tim identifies as a person with lived experience of mental illness and recovery. An award-winning poet, Tim published widely and performed his poetry at the Wollongong Writers' Festival, the Queensland Poetry Festival and at Mad Pride. Here on behalf of the New South Wales Mental Health Commission, please join me in welcoming Tim to the stage to share with us his thoughts on the role of story and the arts in personal recovery. Tim.
Thank you for that overly long introduction. I'd like to begin by thanking Auntie Shirley and also acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting, the land of the Wiradjuri people. I come from Darawal land in Wollongong tonight and had a lovely drive up the hill to get here. I just want to begin by also doing what we do at the Mental Health Commission in New South Wales is to acknowledge lived experience. We do this with the greatest respect for the original owners of this land, and but I think it's important for us to say over and over again that we do acknowledge the lived experience of people with mental health illness. We acknowledge the lived experience of the people who love and care for us as well. So it's just really incredible to have been asked here by Fee and Tim to come here. I've known Fee for over a decade, and from our connection down in Wollongong and Nowra, and it's a connection that has grown over the years, and I think I was saying to the group earlier that this place has something good about it, that it can really welcome and sustain and allow somebody to blossom the way Fee and her family are blossoming here in Bathurst and Lithgow. So, you're doing something very, very good. I think there's, the theme of storytelling saves lives is one that is incredibly important for me because I believe that these are times where we must be telling stories, times where we must be connected to each other, having conversations that matter. I think the hard times for people in our rural, well, in any area, are those silent times, those times when we are disconnected, when we have nobody to speak to, where we feel reticent about sharing our story. All our stories in our lands are connected to health and ill health that wax and wane depending on our lives, and it's just about being open and honest about who we are. We're human beings, and this thing we call mental illness, well, often it's just this reaction, this normal reaction to life's events. And we need to just embrace people, because I think as you're going to see tonight, you're going to see stories and hear stories that will affirm that common humanity that we have, that will speak to yourself, to your own vulnerabilities, to your own need to celebrate your own lives and the lives of your families. I'll tell a little story. I don't want to take over this. As I think I've written in the foreword in the little book you've got there, my journey with serious mental illness began when I was 23, and has been with me throughout my life. But it has not stopped me from doing the things that we would take for granted, and it shouldn't stop anybody a diagnosis of mental health issues. When I finished teaching in 2005, after 20 years there, I went on a walk in Sydney and I was quite moving into a delusional psychosis. I have bipolar 1 mood disorder. And I ended up walking around the streets of Sydney following the traffic lights, and if there's a green light I'd go that way, or a red light I'd stop. And I somehow ended up at the Opera House and entered a little room called the Utzon Room, which is devoted to the architect who designed the Opera House. And there, underneath the tapestry, draped over a chair, was a suit coat. So I tried it on, and it fitted. So I walked out of the Opera House with a suit coat. Now, I do intend to take it back at some stage and have a restoration of the suit coat to the Opera House, but I haven't quite worked out how to do that yet. But in the grounds of Farm Cove there, I went through the pockets. There was no wallet in there, there were only just a few pens and things. But stitched inside the coat, and I'm not wearing the coat tonight, I've worked out its sleeves are actually quite a little bit too long. But stitched inside the coat was a little quote from a writer called Anais Nin. And it's stuck with me in the 15 years of my journey since leaving teaching and working as a peer worker, which is a lived experience designated role, the really important role for our communities to embrace people with lived experience, working with other people who have lived experience, sharing the journey with them, taking them through their own journey at the pace that they want to do it. But this quote, I just want to share because I think it's important for the people here tonight and for those in the audience. So it's just a little quote that says, "Life shrinks or expands in proportion to one's courage." So, it was something that was given to me, and I often feel obliged to share that. I think just to go back to the Mental Health Commission before I finish off, we began in 2012. We're set up to help reform and plan the mental health for New South Wales. Part of what the Commission's legislation was set up was that one of the commissioners or deputies had to have a lived experience of mental illness. All of where we work, all of where we play, we should recognise that we need to see the value, see the importance of bringing these creative, these powerful voices into our communities, allowing them to speak to you and allowing them to tell their stories. So I'll leave it there, and I'll leave it to these wonderful people to do just that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.